y'all. You're listening to an all-new episode of the Christian Gray Snow Show, a podcast from Hurrdat Media. I'm your host, Christian Gray Snow, here with another week of Real Housewives happenings and more. I've never personally been big into foreplay, so let's make like Lisa Rinna's lips and let's get to talking. All right, before we get started, I do want to apologize in advance because I am very under the weather this week, if you can't tell by my voice. I had to call into work today. I have been, not even going to lie, about 30 minutes ago, I was napping because I have like a fever and body aches, all that good stuff. So really, really sucks. If you are like me or not like me, take care of yourself. Do not get sick. I've taken 3 COVID tests. They're all negative. So I'm thankful for that. So must just be something that's going around, but it's kicking your girl's ass. So please send me good luck vibes, healing vibes. And if this episode is, not the best, I'm sorry, but next week will be fire. Okay. All right. Up first this week, and we'll put like an alarm sound here. All right. Your girl was trying to enjoy this week's premiere of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 3, which obviously we'll of course be hitting on later. But all of a sudden, I started getting texts and Twitter notifications and DMs on Instagram, tagged in Instagram. And I was like, oh, my God, has someone died? But turns out the only person to die was me. Like, here lies Shannon Bedore, here lies Christian Gray Snow. It was me because everyone that knows me knows that Vicki Gunvalson is my favorite housewife of all time. She was my first guest on this new version of the show just 2 weeks ago. And, no matter how much Vicki and I may disagree on literally everything about life, I just absolutely love her to death. I always will. And I consider her a friend at this point. So I got sent this tweet that showed Vicki in Laguna Beach. It was from an account called Bravo Lover _ on Twitter. They're a total sweetheart. I DM'd asking them for permission to post and all this stuff, and they let me do it. So thank you for that if you're listening and breaking this news. But the whole thing went down. Vicki was filming. Vicki filmed for Real Housewives of Orange County season 17. She filmed at a restaurant called Mozambique. It's like a Mexican restaurant in Laguna Beach. She filmed alongside Tamara and Shannon, who we all know are both full-time housewives, and also the 2 remaining members of the Trace Amiga alliance that, kind of swept Housewives of Orange County for a couple of years. And obviously, this is a huge deal. Anyone who knows me knows that I've been screaming from the rooftops to get Vicki back on the show since the moment they demoted her. I mean, I was literally so pissed the moment that I read that she was going to be demoted to being a friend. I'll insert the I'm so mad clip here. I'll send that to you. But I will say, though, I have no idea. Like, I really have no idea what's going on. Even Vicki, I text her. She's being quiet about it. But I'm just happy to see them back together. I'm happy to see Vicki right where she belongs, which is on camera, filming for Real Housewives of Orange County. And yeah, I fully believe that even if it's an episode or 2, that those 2 episodes are going to be the best of the season. And yeah, I'm actually a little bit more excited for Orange County than I was prior to this little tidbit of information getting out. So Tamara, if it was you that was responsible for getting Vicki on camera, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I can't wait to watch it happen. Okay, so Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was obviously back this week as well, and the Rinna versus Kathy of it all got incredibly heated, towards the end of the episode. I will say the season has played out differently in ways than I thought, but like in a way because, like if you think back to Aspen, like when the trailer first dropped, they made it look like Kathy was locked out of that store where Diana, Dorit, and Erica were because of everything that we knew was rumored to have gone down in Aspen. However, whenever all that happened, the Kathy meltdown hadn't even started yet. And like, while that's not like a big thing, I just think that it's interesting to see that it isn't exactly what we thought it was going to be based off the trailer this entire time. And the same goes for this sit down with Rinna, Kathy, and Kyle, because I, for some reason, just assumed Rinna was going to be there the whole time. So for me, it was kind of refreshing to be able to see Kathy and Kyle sit down and talk about it alone without Rinna before she got there. All right. But I will say, once Kathy got there, she rolls up in her little Peace t-shirt, which we later find out is the same shirt she was wearing in Aspen, which I think is like menace central. Like, you cannot tell me that was not deliberate. But yeah, this is where it gets a little dicey for me. Kathy walks in, she immediately pulls a flower from like Kyle's like pot outside her door. And I don't know. I'm like, it's funny because she's giving it to Kyle, but I also just felt like she was playing up for the cameras in that moment. Is that just me? So I'm like, I don't really need you to like be doing your silly your silly stuff right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need you to talk about what you said about your sister, and I need you to apologize and take accountability for it. Stop, ransacking her pots of flowers outside. What the fuck? So Kathy walks in. She's trying to cut any tension that, there may still be between she and Kyle. And because Kyle reveals that they haven't really spoken since she left Kathy at her house in Aspen when all the lady went to catch that private plane at the airport. So Kathy does go pretty much immediately, it seems, into apologizing to Kyle. And I think it's great that we see this, but I also feel like the audience, after all we've watched all these years with Kyle and her sisters, and then especially Kyle, I think Kyle needed like a bit more here. I appreciated her crying, and I appreciated her seeming sorry and the shaky voice and all that stuff. But I don't know. It was like part of it just wasn't, part of it was still missing for me. Like the authenticity, I don't know, because I'm torn. Like they looped in these moments of Kathy being like seemingly regretful, loving towards her little sister, but then there are also these quick moments where she's like, Kyle, don't say that, and it's like she feels like she becomes stern all of a sudden, and so I feel like for Kyle, who's on the receiving end of that, and us as the audience, like I said, who are just trying to piece all this family bullshit together after 12 fucking years, we needed more. Like, it was a great apology, and like if she were faking it, give her the Emmys, give her Oscars, Tonys, give her everything. But I just wish there had been a little tad bit more of accountability there. But I know that obviously we're not going to get it because Kathy will never, ever, ever reveal out of her own mouth what she said about Kyle, her family, and who knows who else, and it feels like Kathy's like trying to blame Kyle for having the meltdown, like what the fuck? She says, we never really spend time together. What does that have anything to do with you going on a drunken, what you call altitude induced like psychotic break? Where you allegedly said horrific things about everyone there. So I don't know how those two connect, and how, if you are so very sorry and want her apology, or want her forgiveness, how you can jump back into, throwing the blame on her when it clearly is not her fault. So I don't get it. Like, things like this are very, very rough for me because, I feel like we're teased with closure. Like, it was like hanging right above us, and we could like see it at the end of the scene, but I don't know, just between some sort of depth missing from the apology and also Kathy's, quickness to turn the finger around and blame Kathy, leaves me with pause. However, that does not mean that I necessarily am Team Rinna either. So Rinna shows up, and while I was frustrated with Kathy before, the frustration quickly shifted to Rinna because I don't know. I'm just like, girl, let the fucking mouse go. Like, here's a clip of what went down.
What made you go to that place? Do you have any idea?
I mean, I don't really have a temper.
What would you call this?
Losing my temper and just being
cruel?
Yeah.
Cruel. I feel if we're going to really talk about this, you're going to have to take responsibility for some of the things that you've said. You said some things about everybody. Not just Kyle, like big things that, I don't want to say that you need help, Kathy, but I think you need some help.
I think I was a little frustrated. I think it was just a lot of heavy stuff in 3 days, jam-packed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot to process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that trying to shut me up?
No. But I feel you can be very unkind, too. I will say that.
Oh, we're going to go there.
Kathy is brought to tears, apologizing to Lisa and Kyle. And like I said, bring out all the awards if this was fake, because she was fucking killing it. But she did seem upset. While I said I wanted more of an apology, like, I will agree that like there did seem like there was genuine pain there. So do I think Kathy said horrible things that would probably get her canceled if those statements saw the light of day? Yeah, she probably did. But do I think Rinna cares more about exposing her for the sake of reality TV fodder more than she does exposing someone who did something that she knows to be morally wrong? Absolutely. All day. And Rinna literally tells Kathy, you're not going to get away with it. You're not going to get away with this, Kathy, not with me. Before Kathy decides, to remove herself from the situation. And there was a small little funny clip that Kathy said where she was like, I mean, really, who could be scared of Lisa Rinna? As in, like, we've seen this bitch throwing glasses and screaming her pillow lips at everybody for the last, 8 years. Like, and you want to say that you're scared of me and that I traumatized you? Like, bitch, get out of here, buckle up. So I don't know. I just think that, I don't know. This is what I think happened. Do I think Kathy did some fucked up shit? Absolutely. Do I think that she sought legal advice and legal counsel to make sure those comments never saw the light of day? Absolutely. I don't know why NBC and Bravo are protecting her. I don't know if Kyle is also trying to choose to protect her, but I also feel like there is a bit of karma here for Rinna, who knows that this is true, but has exposed everything to everybody for all these years and gotten away with it. And now she's not going to get away with it. I don't think. So I think that karma is playing out in multitudes of ways to a multitude of people. And we are sitting here watching it, and I ain't mad about it. I gotta lie. An honorable mention from this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, before we move on, is something that happened during the episode of Erica's Pretty Mess hair launch. Rinna's talking about how she has PTSD from when she saw Kathy and Aspen, and I'm just like, girl, like, you've got to come up with something else, If we're going to pull the PTSD card, like, at least associate it with something that would actually trigger your PTSD. Like your husband getting acrylic nails. We all remember that, So I just wanted to say, yeah, I thought that was, please get fucking real. Another honorable mention are the producers exposing Rinna for renting clothes in this episode. Like Rinna was whispering to Dorit or something, you can rent anything these days. I rented this jumpsuit. And I'm like, no wonder she's able to afford all that designer stuff. It's a rental. Love that. A rental. And I said that the R in Rent the Runway must clearly stand for Rinna. You know what I'm saying? Now I remember what the other honorable mention was. It was Sutton, because Lisa's talking about how she has all that PTSD about what Kathy did and how she's like, I just have to pray for her and hope for the best and just let God shine his light on her. And Sutton is like, does Rinna pray? Because we all know if Rinna's praying, those prayers ain't getting no higher than the ceiling. Okay. All right, everybody, the third season of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City kicked off with quite the chilling cold opening. We immediately saw something we kind of knew was coming based off, the social media postings that the cast members have been putting out for the last year or so. And that's that the tables have turned in Salt Lake City, y'all. Not only are Meredith and Lisa completely broken, and rightfully so after Lisa's little hot mic meltdown last season, but we now see that Meredith is linking up with none other than Jen Shaw. Make that make sense. And we see Heather Gay linking up with Lisa Barlow. And we see these scenes that they're like splicing together for the opening of the show. And essentially, it is Meredith and Jen talking about the wrongdoings of Lisa Barlow and how they each have both had a really tough winter. They hit on Jen's upcoming trial, and she says that she wants to throw Sharif a birthday party before everything starts getting crazy. And we also see these moments, like I said, spliced in, where also at the same time, Heather is talking to Lisa about how she's going to need to take every single bit of possible accountability when it comes to what she did in order to repair any bit of friendship that could possibly be left with Meredith. Right. So basically it's like Heather, like dropping tips for Lisa. Like, this is what you need to do to bridge that gap. Okay. And the girls were also getting to it on social last night, because during that moment, when Heather was telling Lisa, like, you're going to have to eat some humble pie. Okay. And I think Heather said this actually in a confessional, like, Lisa doesn't want to eat the humble pie. She doesn't want to tell you that she had the humble pie. And then she doesn't want to tell you that she doesn't want to pretend she enjoyed eating the humble pie. And Heather said, unfortunately, she's going to have to do all three of those things in order to repair her friendship with Meredith, right? However, when the whole humble pie thing came up, Meredith tweeted, I think her humble pie tastes like bottom shelf tequila, which, boom, we know that that's a dig, because Vita tequila is probably on the bottom shelf if you can locate it anywhere. I certainly have never seen it in public. I think the Loch Ness Monster has been spotted more often. We also get a glimpse at Whitney's house, the speakeasy bar that she has. And I just want to say it is officially the only thing that I want in my life. I'm obsessed with that speakeasy bar. It had this like awesome wallpaper, and like it opened up like as a bookshelf and you could lock it, which is super hot. So yeah, just wanted to say that I was obsessed with that. We see Whitney tell Heather that she has decided to take basically like the ultimate final step, forever farewell to the Church of Mormonism. Okay. And she says that she has decided to do this because she's been going through all kinds of like healing therapy, and she's identified that there's some sort of trauma that's rooted in her childhood. And she thinks that having this weighing over her would just basically free her. And her husband, Justin, agrees. And you can tell that Heather's trying to be supportive, but I also feel like in that moment, Heather was a little turned off in a weird way. Like, it even goes to Heather's confessional, because I was wondering in that moment, I was like, wait, has Heather already done this? Like, has Heather signed these papers before? But we find out that it isn't. That Heather's like, no, like, I've done some messed up shit to the church and like trying to get out of the church and to my family about the church. She's like, but I don't even think I could do this. So it is a very, very, very serious issue. One that is made very simple, very serious, but made very simple, because all you have to do, they told us, is go to quitmormon.com, right? Quitmormon.com. I personally think that there should be, this was probably the best part of the episode for me. The website is literally called quitmormon.com. Like, you just go on and fill out a form and you print it out and you say, I want you to remove my name from the ledger within 5 days of the church, and then you mail it off. I honestly think that there should be like commercials for this, where it's like, you know, Sarah McLachlan in the arms of an angel, music's playing in the back, slow and sad. And it's like, if you or a loved one have been impacted by Mormonism, please take the time to visit www.quitmormon.com. That's www.quitmormon.com to be freed from the Mormon church and all its stresses in just 5 days. Yes, just 5 days. Like, what in the world? I like an entire life-altering cult-like religion that becomes like these people's entire identity, but they'll just leave you alone. You go to quitmormon.com. I'm probably going to put quitmormon.com on a t-shirt, just saying. Jen also complains about having to downsize her house and the Shaw Squad. And I'm like, hello, what's not clicking? Like, did you downsize the people working for you because the company you were running is illegal? Like, I know that maybe she was referring to her assistants, but I'm also like, you aren't working anymore. Like, you can't be working. The company you had is defunct and criminal. Like, so what are you doing? Why do you need any Shaw Squad? You don't need anybody. What are you talking about? Anyway, and she's complaining about downsizing her house, which is a measly 4,500 square feet. Like, I just can't imagine, you know, if you look around here, this box I'm living in Seattle is a whopping 384 square feet. Welcome to fuck home, Jen. Your new home's going to be a lot smaller than this. I do hate to tell you that. However, speaking of Jen, we see her throw a birthday party for her husband, Sharif, and one of the new friends of Housewives, Angie K, is hosting it. And I will just say Angie's house does look like spectacular. So I'm very excited to get to know her and to get to know where this money is from, honey, because it looked like she had plenty of it. You could see like the whole city from her house. Everything was white and marble and just looked real, and glass, and looked real rich. Okay. Real rich. So I'm here for it. As at the party, we finally see Lisa confront Meredith, and like, Lisa is such a bad person. Lisa Barlow is such a bad person. I don't care what y'all say. She's a bad person because the things that she said were horrific. She said a legion of things, and then she just wants to waltz right up to Meredith, and who Meredith reveals hasn't heard a peep from Lisa since the reunion wrapped, and be like, I'm sorry, like, please buy one ticket to the Lisa Barlow World Apology Tour. Price is $9.99 and for free if you buy a bottle of Vita tequila. Like, what the fuck? You haven't said one text. You haven't sent an email. You haven't called. You haven't offered to meet up. You haven't sent smoke signals. You haven't sent flowers. You haven't said an edible arrangement. But the moment those cameras are up, it's go time. It's showtime, right? In the words of Phaedra, get away from me with this shit, Apollo. Lisa then goes to fucking Seth because Meredith's like, look, we can talk sometime, but like, now's not it, you know? And then Lisa then goes to Seth and puts on these waterworks. And if I was Meredith, I would have pulled my husband right the fuck out of that situation. About, you can talk to her after she talks to me, after we're done. But until then, no. And then Lisa is like crying to Seth. And she's like, woe is me. Like, everyone was telling me Meredith wasn't my friend. Like, I haven't slept. I haven't been able to like function. Like, Seth's like, are you okay? Or not Seth, whatever her husband named it, John, her little bellboy. And okay, so you haven't slept in 2 months. You haven't slept in 2 months, but it didn't occur to you before now to do something about that, like reach out to your friends and so you could get some sleep and get some peace of mind. Just wait until tonight. Convenient. You're doing it for the show, the cameras. You don't give a shit about Meredith, which is exactly what Meredith is saying. Lisa Barlow is as authentic as her tequila. You can only find it at the airport once in a while. It is not dependable. It is borderline fraudulent. Thank you. And then something else that really just like chapped my ass was like, Lisa's like, there's only so much you can do. Like, if you're willing to apologize, which I am, I have no problem taking accountability for what I've done. I have no problem, taking full ownership of exactly what I said and apologizing for what I said. I have no problem doing that. I'm happy to do that. But then goes in her confessional and she's like, but if people don't accept your apology, what more can you do? What more can you, like, bitch, you tried one time. You made one attempt at a public party when they weren't expecting it because they haven't heard from you for the last 2 months up until now. What is not clicking? I just don't get it. I think that Lisa Barlow is a joke. She's a joke. If you ask me, Team Meredith, except when it comes to the Jen Shah stuff, this season's going to be interesting. Okay. All right. And while we did not get the taglines for the premiere of season 3 of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which I hate when Bravo does that, like, come on. Just add them in. It can't be that hard. I know that they're done. Just add them in. And I know it's not that hard because I went and in a very scrappy way made some of my own. So I made my own taglines for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and I hope that you guys enjoy them. I'm going to play them for you right now.
Have you ever seen Vita Tequila in a public place? Neither have I.
The only good thing about bad weather is that it doesn't last forever.
Imagine claiming I cheated on my husband when your husband fucked your sister before marrying you.
I'm a loyal friend. The real reason I'm writing a book is so Jen will have something to read in prison. The producers told me to go to hell, but I thought they said go to jail. So here we are.
All right, speaking of Instagram, because I posted those taglines on Instagram yesterday, I also asked for you guys to send me in some questions. Like, and ask me anything. So I'm going to pick 3 really quick to get into. And yeah, that's how we're going to wrap up this week's episode. Shell Greg Photo, which is Shelby in Davis, California, said, when will you and Faces by Bravo do an episode together? Oh, my bestie Steve. I miss Steve. You all know that Steve and I love each other, Faces by Bravo. If you don't follow him, then I don't know how you would know me. So please go follow Steve, Faces by Bravo. I am planning to have Steve on the show as soon as possible. Maybe I'll see if he can be here next week. Since I moved from Los Angeles up to Seattle in January, I haven't been able to see him in like 9 months, but we will be reunited at BravoCon, which is going to be very, very exciting. So I will see him there, but I will try to do an episode with him before then. So thank you so much, Shelby, for that question. Heather McFarland from Dallas, Fort Worth. Do you believe Kathy or Rinna? I kind of believe both. I think both have some truth, and I think both are exaggerating or covering up one or the other, or vice versa. I think it's going to be a losing game for Lisa Rinna, but I don't necessarily think she lied about everything. I do think there's some truth there. I just think that maybe perhaps she stretched it, or she refuses to accept that the apology from Kathy is enough for her while it's enough for everyone else. So I don't know. I kind of believe both. Heather from DFW. We'll see. Best of Bravo said better get a shout out. Hi, Maggie. Maggie's in Nashville. I have to say hi to Maggie. And then let's see. William from North Carolina. Who would you rather, Apollo or Ralph? Oh, Apollo all day. I literally get like chills thinking about Apollo. My knees start to quiver when I think about Apollo. You cannot tell me that Apollo does not lay pipe better than all the plumbers in the world put together. You know what I'm saying? That's just all there is to it. So thank you. All right. Thank y'all for your questions. I also want to give a quick shout out to everyone who has left a rating and subscribed to the podcast and left comments. I really, really appreciate it. You guys have no idea how much it helps if you go drop a 5-star rating there for your girl. Drop some comments, and I would love to see what you have to say. Also, as you always know, you can get your Real Housewives inspired merch at theslutpigshop.com, and follow me on Instagram at Christian Gray Snow and the CGS Pod on Twitter. Until next week. And, God only knows what's going to happen between now and next week, guys. It's exciting. You never know. Buckle up, have a good weekend, and don't do anything I wouldn't do, which means you're free to go be a crazy hoe. Bye. Also, somebody send me some cold medicine.